Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to their Call of Duty World War II video. In today's video, an actual new update is coming out, February 23rd. Sprint out times are being changed and a bunch of different weapon tuning changes. It's absolutely crazy coming into Call of Duty World War II. So if you guys could, I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. If you guys could drop a like on this video, that would be absolutely awesome. Let's go ahead and go for 300 likes. That would be amazing if we could smash that many. And also subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Really do appreciate everyone new subscribing. Also, if my mic does sound a bit different today, it's because I'm actually doing this video from my friend's house, so that's why it could sound a little bit different. But I want to get this out and talk about these updates because these are really, really crucial stuff into Call of Duty World War II. Let's talk about it. So the first thing is ADS transition times, ADS from sprint times, and ADS sprint out times that were changed. So for the SMGs, they buffed the base ADS times and buffed ADS in from sprint times. ADS sprint out times match ADS from sprint times. So basically, with SMGs now, you're aiming down sights faster, and you're aiming down sights faster out of sprint, and this is across the board with all SMGs. So this is definitely a very, very huge buff to these specific guns, because basically, for an SMG to compete with an assault rifle, you need that sprint out time, and you need to be able to get your gun up quick, and to be able to use the power of the close range SMG to win those gunfights. So these changes, I'm not sure how good they'll actually be in game. I'm gonna have to test it out for myself, but definitely some positive changes overall and some good changes to the SMGs. If you're a fan of SMGs, you'll really like this this update, that specific part right here. If you're an assault rifle player, there might be some bumping and moaning from assault rifle players here on this one, but that's what we have for SMGs. Next is with rifles. So here we go for assault rifles here to match it, because they have to keep both parties happy. They buffed the base ADS transition times, but not the ADS from sprint times and ADS sprint out times, in an effort to maintain a difference between the SMG and AR class playstyles. So basically, they gave you sort of a mini quick draw. The base ADS transition time now will be faster, so aiming down sights, but when you're coming out of a sprint with an assault rifle, it will be the same. That was not buffed, and that was buffed for the SMG. So overall, the SMGs win this buff war on today at least, but that's how it should be. SMGs are made for assault rifles are for the playstyle where you're aiming down sights, picking people off from a medium to long range, and SMGs are more for that sprinting, rushing, oh my gosh, surprising people sort of playstyle. So I definitely understand that. Next is with the snipers, the Kar 98K and the M1903. They nerfed the ADS transition times, which is a slight nerf to quick scoping. So I know a lot of people think that quick scoping is overpowered in this game. They already went ahead and nerfed the Kar 98K last update, and now they're doing it again. So this will definitely make some snipers upset. I'm not really sure why they're doing this. I thought they were kind of fine after the last update. I guess the M19 still was very, very fast to quick scope. But honestly, they're kind of nerfing snipers to the ground, it feels like, and I'm going to have to see how this update ends up playing out. Next is for your LMGs. They buffed the base ADS times on the LMGs, so they also put a note here that base ADS times for SMGs are faster than rifles, and rifles are faster than LMGs. In other words, there's now more of a distinction between class playstyles. So that's pretty obvious. Of course, if you're having guns that are made for rushing, you're going to have the fastest ADS time, and then up the board with a slower gun like a rifle, and then an even slower gun like an LMG. That's what we have for all the ADS changes. Now, as far as weapon changes here, there are some specific weapon buffs and nerfs, which I'm really excited to get into here. So drop a like, and let's go. Here we go. MP40. Buffed recoil in an effort to have more of a competitive SMG on par with the PPSH. Oh baby, this is huge. I just made a video with the MP40 like a couple days ago, and because of the past buff it had for the rapid fire, now they're buffing it again to have less recoil. This could be the update where the MP40 sneaks into that. I think it definitely will sneak into that top 3 SMG spot, and maybe even could compete for the best spot of an SMG. We're gonna have to wait and see, but that's definitely some huge changes to fans of the MP40. And I know from my previous videos, a lot of you guys left comments saying MP40 was your favorite SMG, so I know I have a lot of MP40 fans watching me, so this is definitely positive changes for that. Next is for the FG42. Now this one is a weapon that's been debated over and over and over again. Is it overpowered? Should it be nerfed? This gun has been nerfed and buffed, it seems like, as many times as the Vesper. I'm only a couple months into Call of Duty World War II. For the FG42, they nerfed the fire rate so that the damage output is more in line with other weapons in this class. So basically, this gun didn't have the fastest fire rate to begin with, but because it's pretty much always a 3-shot kill, the damage output, or the damage per second, or whatever you want to call it in this game, that was a bit stronger than other ARs, and that's the change they're making towards competitive. Basically, that's basically the change they're doing with that. Definitely, you know, I can sort of agree with that. I would run rapid fire on my FG42 to begin with, so I definitely think after this update, you should still, you know, run rapid fire to sort of counter the nerf with your own personal buff, I guess you could say. But there we go. Next is for the SVT40. They buffed the recoil in order to make it more manageable to shoot down range and give a better contrast to the M1 Garand. So this is what I was talking about. These semi-auto guns definitely did need a buff to compete with the god of them, which is the M1 Garand. They buffed the recoil in an effort to make it more manageable to shoot down range and give a better contrast to the M1 Garand. They nerfed the hip spread to match the M1 Garands in an effort to decrease the ability to quickly kill opponents at close ranges. So it makes sense. A lot of these changes today are just to make sure weapons are doing their job. Of course, the SVT is not made for killing people at close range, so that's why that was adjusted. But they basically buffing the recoil essentially means there's less recoil on the gun. So this SVT might actually be a god gun now, because before the recoil had a little pop in its step, but it was still a really good gun. This change could make this absolutely a legendary gun. Next, we have to another semi-auto. They're really doing good with this update so far. The M1A1 buffed fire rate in an effort to make it a more competitive choice amongst the other rifles. Still slightly slower than the Gewehr 43. And speaking of the Gewehr, we have some buffs to that. They buffed the fire rate in an effort to make it more competitive choice amongst the rifles. Buffed the recoil close to that of the M1A1. These guns are gonna have no recoil. They're 3-shot kills. The Gewehr and the M1 pretty much have no recoil, and they buffed the clip size to be 12 rounds per clip instead of 10. I still don't think, I just don't see why people would use those 3 shots to kill guns when you have 2-shot to kill semi-automatics. That's my own 2 cents on it. The M1A1 and Gewehr got some nice buffs, but so did the SVT. So I'm probably going to be sticking with the SVT after this update as the best semi-auto. Probably SVT or the M1 Garand. Next change we have here is to the shotgun, to the M30, the Luftwaffe drilling shotgun. They buffed the damage per pellet to be on par with the recent sawed-off shotgun changes, so that this shotgun now has a more automatic 2-shot kill and a slightly forgiving 1-shot kill. So basically they're trying to organize all of the lower tier weapons, you know, your semi-automatic guns, your lower tier shotguns. They're trying to get them more on par with the other weapons. I guess they're doing that too with the snipers, but in a different way. They're sort of nerfing the top snipers instead of buffing the lower ones, which probably they should have done it the other way around. They buffed the shotgun damage range so that now is more feasible to finish off an opponent who didn't die from a rifle bullet. They buffed the ADS spread to allow for greater accuracy when shooting enemies that are outside of the obvious shotgun range while in ADS. As well as for the toggle action shotgun, we have some buffs for that one as well. They buffed the clip size to be 8 shots per clip instead of 6 in an effort to allow players to have more success with this weapon, and they nerfed the ADS spread to be on par with other shotguns besides the M30. So a lot of different weapon changes we have overall in today's update. I'd say the things that I'm most excited for are these ADS time buffs, basically speeding up the game. Anytime you speed up the game on a game that's not too fast, I definitely think is a good move, because that means you're going to end up with more kills. And I think that's what they're doing. They're speeding up this game. We still have score streak buffs to come. All these weapon buffs sped up the game. SMGs now, aiming down sights faster, in and out of sprint, and rifles even aiming down sights faster. Plus, out of the weapons, so I'd say the ADS part is probably what I'm most excited for. Out of the weapon changes, what I'm most excited for there would 100% be the MP40 buff. They want something to take down the PPSH. I just made a video with the PPSH 1 or 2 days ago saying it's still my best SMG because it just is so good, and I'm glad that they made these changes and adaptations, so now the MP40 might have a chance to compete for that top SMG spot. Definitely some good changes overall there, and I'm very excited about this patch update in a whole. So if you guys did watch to the end of the video, please be sure to smack that like button, guys. I would really appreciate if we could go ahead and smack up 301 likes. Also subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, sub for a cookie, and don't looky. And that's about it, guys. Have a great night, and I'm out. Peace.
Capturing Charlie. Care package on the way. Protect the drop zone. Recon aloft.